get started at the Sunday morning live. This is a very interesting live this morning. We've got a couple different factors going on here that we're going to get hot and heavy here. First, we had about $234 million worth of XRP moved in the last roughly around the overnight, late night period by Ripple. It was moved to an unknown wallet. That's about 200 million XRP moved. I'm very, 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 very leery about this move today, and I'm going to tell you why. We're significantly oversold in the stochastic when you get into the 3 and 4 hourly, 2 hourly. Generally, when the 4 hourly gets this overfilled right now, when we haven't pushed over a resistance, which is the descending triangle at $1.56, even though we back tested near $1.34, we've not had any real significant shuffle here in the strength. So one of two things are going to happen. One, we're going to power out of here, even though we're slightly overbought up here and we're getting pushed up pretty quickly. We still got a lot of room to push up to like 96. But the question is here, do we have enough of a portfolio to push out of that dollar? Like, I'm not worried about the area right now. If we're going to push up, what worries me, and we'll get into this deeper after I do the intro, what worries me slightly is you don't want to be under this big descending triangle. Although the daily is moving up, it's just the way the volume is set up right now and the way we're set up in positioning makes me slightly nervous that we're going to see something like this take place. So we talked about it yesterday with XDC, how it would look like a flag, but the way it was setting up, it really needed to validate within some kind of a channel. This resistance ended up holding, and now XDC's come down like 5%. And it seems to be out in front once again. It initially pushed up in that smaller time frame, came down, tried to push back up to here. I almost feel like Ripple's doing this right now. And then with this push up, it had a slide of better than 6.7%, down 5.5% from yesterday. Now, we do have some outliers here, which we've got H-bar up 5.3%. Seemingly, this is what we've seen out of XDC try. And by the time it got up to about right here, it reversed back. So I need to see right now if XDC is just in its own little catastrophe here, because we came down, pushed back out to about here. So XDC had come down. Here, let's go into the smaller time frame because it did it faster. So to be able to see this, you're going to have to look different. 367, back up to 384. So that was a push initially because we want to see if this is playing out, of about 5.1% to a 6.5% drop. Now, is this the bull flag now validating? Now that we've reshuffled, or are we running out of steam here? It's very interesting to watch this because it still looks like a flag to me. It came back down like I would have hoped. Now, is there more room underneath? There sure is. Like if it wanted to, and the whole reason for that bottom support is just to show like if we stay within this section, we'd be okay even if it went to 3, 4, 5. But we really want to watch this. I really want to watch this because now you can expand it like this, which is really nice to watch when you look at it like this, because now you're forming. We don't need to worry about this in the short term. We're worried about this little setup. Now, when you're looking at this, are you seeing a bull flag? Are you seeing a... Well, what are you seeing here when we're looking? So we'll go over this, because if that's a nice flag setup, the buy is set up right here when you break over 3.71 cents. And we are going to go into this hot and heavy. We're going to look at this from a perspective of, are we getting lifetime opportunities with a further drop? Because Brad Garlinghouse has already come out and said that XRP is going to hit all-time highs. So the natural knee-jerk reaction would be, let's just buy XRP today without looking at any of the technicals. Let's not validate the movement, which very well could be the play. However, if you didn't buy it at $1.13, you really got to pay attention to that $1.56. $1.34 could have been a good load up area for the breakthrough. So let's just see what happens here. Let's see if the entire market is kind of finessing us a little bit. And let's see if XDC is trying to be like, listen, guys, I know we went up 5% yesterday, but watch what happened to me after the flip of the clock. I'm down 5.5% right now. I topped out near 7. And let's see what kind of reaction we get here, because XDC could be leading the fray here. So, but we have a lot more to talk about on top of that. I need to get through this in a very organized, very professional manner because I have church. I need to leave here at 10:50 at the latest. So we'll get about an hour's worth of a live. No BS, no grudges, no nonsense, no negative commentary. I'm not going to read negativity in the comments. That's a difference I've made this year, and you've seen it in the last couple of days. So I won't talk about portfolios because too many people get butthurt. I don't want people to feel like I'm bragging. I want people to see the real information. If you can't handle that, you're probably in the wrong place. Good morning. 10:01 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Sunday, February 8th, 2026. I'm XRP Future Millionaire, and I reside in the great state of Michigan. The beauty is the futures market, we're dead on. We're not dead on arrival this week. We're dead on the mark. 145.98 it closed, or 145.10 it closed on Friday. Today it's at 145.98, 146. That's not going to leave a gap. If we stay like this would not leave a gap. So there's no risk of going over the top, leaving a bearish or a bearish CME or a bullish CME or a back test or a retest or a breakup or a breakdown. Right now we're in a perfect spot. If we stay around this area, I'm still, like I said, I'm leery. I showed the reason I'm leery right now. We're still well below $1.56. The volume, we want to see some confirmation as we push up towards that descending triangle. There's nothing wrong with understanding that narrative. There's nothing wrong with understanding that objective. In fact, if you pay attention to the technicals in front of us, we're going to be able to see in real time whether or not this reverses or it continues out. A very big telling sign right now, I think, is H-bar. If it can continue out of here, because XDC, when it tried to get out of this area, it would have been topped out near that 9.8. Right now, we're trying to push through that initial push. And if it breaks out of here, and we've theorized about this with H-bar yesterday. We talked about how, yes, it did break out of something like this. But if you take this farther, we know we have what could be determined almost like an expanding wedge. But now, if you look at this with the new evidence, you've really got something like this going on. And it's pretty obvious that this is happening. And I don't want to say it's an expanding channel or anything like that, but it definitely looks like it's just in this little channel. It's expanding slightly, I would say. If we look at it, and we don't even need to do that, though. We don't have to stretch it out. We can just say it's a little channel that it's trying to work through. And if it breaks up, we're going to end up pushing ourselves into this range of about 14.7 cents for H-bar. And I'm interested to see what happens, mainly because, excuse me, when the stochastic starts to push up like this so quickly, it means when we get to a local resistance, it's generally a local top on the consolidation. So I don't know what H-bar is planning. I don't know what the rest of the market's planning. I just know if we can't get over 11 cents, it's going to be a kick in the nuts, and that's about 15% still. So we've still got opportunity. Like, we're looking at XDC. Just because it came down doesn't mean it just broke down. It just means that it formed the pattern like we were talking about yesterday. Now we have some opportunity. Now we have an objective. If you're looking and saying, Tom, when do I get into XDC? You better damn well look at it if it gets over that 3.7 mark. And you better make sure that when you buy it, it doesn't fall under 3.58. So to buy it at 3.65 doesn't make any sense. Let's let it do its job. Just like XRP, if you missed it at $1.13, there is absolutely, positively no reason to try to overstop. Yeah, you can get an outlook of about a 6% over jump from in front of the bus if it's going to come up to that descending triangle. But there is no reason whatsoever, if you didn't take a chance on the drop, to not wait it out and see how we react right there at $1.56-ish, $1.55. You don't want to get yourself stuck here in a liquidity trap. We get up here and we hold. Now all of a sudden we open up the door for a move from $1.55-ish, $1.56, all the way up to $2.13. Now that would be a nice move. Let's say you missed $1.13. You got to look at opportunity and reaction. If it gets over the top, you've got a 35% clear move. Now, if you buy here, and let's just say for whatever reason, it doesn't pan out and we can't get over here. Let's say you ride it up, you're happy, it gets rejected. Well, then you're looking at a 45% drop if we get rejected. Nobody wants to get caught in that nightmare. Nobody. So let's let this play out properly. Let's let this do what it needs to do before we start to overstep. The fact that Ripple moved $234 million worth of XRP, unknown wallet supposedly to start, but that always happens. If I send money from, I don't know, Kraken, and I want it less traced, I'll send it to an unknown wallet, send it to another unknown wallet. So then it's got 2 steps removed. Then I'll send it to an off exchange that I don't even use. And then I'll send it to the normal account. So it's got 3 steps of separation. So that it's harder and harder for the blockchain to keep track of. That's exactly what they do with the big boys. It's hard for the whale alerts to keep track when they go from the Ripple wallet. They send it to an unknown wallet. They send it to another verified Ripple wallet. Then send it to a third removed wallet. And then it ends up at the unknown destination. Happens every time. It gives you a few steps of separation. That's also another way of keeping hackers, keep another way of anonymity at a deeper level. Doesn't seem to make a lot of sense when the average trader talks about it, but it really does happen. I mean, you know, make no mistake, that kind of stuff is happening all the time. From an overall standpoint, XRP is still in a bear market. This is nothing more than a bear market rally. You've had no volume to condition this move. You've had nothing that tells us that we're going to have a continuation past $1.56 unless we get there and all of a sudden we can make it past. I could tell you in the daily time frame we're building a head topping or M topping reversal Batman top just looking at the daily, but it's slightly sloped. So can we get a little bit of portfolio here, or are we going to continue moving down? So the big news though today is Ripple. So Ripple moves 200 million. I post about it on my Facebook if anybody's interested in just checking out the channel. But posted out this morning. At night I put down my lives overnight. Brad Garlinghouse said that XRP was going back to all-time highs in his interview with CNBC. Brad Garlinghouse didn't just give an interview, he dropped a 2026 manifesto on CNBC when the man who survived the SEC's war goes on record saying we are hitting an all-time high. The conspiracy has officially become the roadmap. So he's saying we're going to hit an all-time high. No doubt about it. Some people are spinning about the 2026. But I think the script is finally written, and he's telling you at some point this is going back to all-time highs and likely above. Now, all of a sudden this morning, an alert, $234 million worth of XRP on the move by Ripple. Something massive just happened in the XRP ecosystem. A Ripple, I was supposed to say Ripple unknown wallet, just transferred 200 million XRP to an unknown destination. Is this the institutional wave? Is it something more? Is Ripple preparing for a massive liquidity injection, which is what I think, because ironically, in 6 days from now, we get a huge upgrade on the XRP ledger. There's a big change when it comes to the XRP token. So XRP is not just going to be a token anymore. I've been talking about this for years. It seems, and this is some of the big news, 300 million XRP wiped out, 110,000 XRP holders liquidated in a 72-hour crush. Like they crushed the holders. I wish more people would have watched this. It got about 10,000 views on Facebook, but it should have got more, honestly. It's about the actual steps that takes place with the utility phase of XRP. The upgrade no one's talking about is the XRP ledger has evolved. It's no longer a basic payment rail. It's now a high-speed factory for tokenized finance. We're talking about real-time settlement, no more 3 days, blah, blah, blah. There's the FX settlements. There's the DVP, delivery versus payments. The utility lock, XRP is blah, blah, blah. The fuel, the 2 massive upgrades. So you have single asset vaults, professional grade management for massive institutional stacks. You have XLS 66 lending protocol. This is the big one, native on the ledger. Borrowing and lending, no middleman, just pure protocol level credit. So we're going deeper than just XRP, even just being a gas token by utility. There's so much more going on. I promise you this is all just a bunch of bullshit that, I'm sorry, this is a family friend. A bunch of nonsensical horse shit. This is a lot of manipulation taking place this morning and during the weeks and the months. And it's not the manipulation of, oh, the big guy in the back room is saying sell, 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 sell. No, it's the trading algorithms. The trading bots have a set. It's a set. And once you get on top of the algorithm, you can get on top of the trading. Obviously, to get on top of the algorithm, you're going to know how to look at the trading setups. Ripple moves 200 million XRP. This is not a joke. I'm not fluffing you up. This is for real. I don't BS. So Ripple transferred 200 million XRP valued at approximately 234 million to an unknown wallet, sparking market speculation regarding potential institutional sales of strategic treasury moves. This movement follows a pattern of large, often monthly transfers by Ripple to manage liquidity, but that was on the first, so this is on top of that. Or fund ecosystem development contributing to market discussions on XRP's price volatility. So data from early February 2026 indicates, and what are we, February 8th today, 200 million XRP moved from wallets associated with Ripple to undisclosed locations. It's interesting, though, that they moved it when they did. I waited to try to see where it was done. I think it was on the 7th when it was actually moved. I was trying to figure out exactly what they were going to do with the movement before I talk deeper. But really, all we're seeing is it's moved to an unknown wallet. We know we have the XRP out, the roadmap that was laid out 2 days ago. We know we have the XLS 66 upgrade. We know we have a few different things where the XRP token is going to be more viable now, not just as a gas fee. It's actually evolving here in real time. So Ripple Labs has executed a significant transfer, 200 million XRP valued at approximately 234 million to an unknown wallet. According to blockchain service Well Alert, this transaction originated from a wallet linked to Ripple's corporate treasury, has sparked widespread analysis with the cryptocurrency community due to its potential implications for market liquidity and Ripple's strategic management. The transfer's destination remains unidentified, raising questions about its purpose. Analysts suggest it could be an over-the-counter sale to large institutional buyers, a move to fund new partnerships, or strategic repositioning of assets. Despite the transaction size, XRP's market price experienced only minor volatility, indicating the market's ability to absorb such news without significant disruption, yada, 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 so on and so forth. We know with Bitcoin, they're trying to act like, listen to this. This is the farce, okay? This is the farce. Don't listen to this psychotic, nonsensical BS. What they're telling you right now about the BS... You can't make this up. You cannot make this up. If you believe any of this nonsense, you're going to have to learn a little bit deeper what crypto is all about. So, they're telling us that Bitcoin, the crash, so Bitcoin tokens sent accidentally. They're telling us this whole crash, and you can't make this stuff up, right? They're telling us this whole crash. And mind you, the amount of money is just laughable. The amount that they say made the market crash like this. What the hell did I type? Bitcoin tokens moved accidentally by exchange. I can't remember. What was it? BitDump? But I don't remember what the fuck the exchange was. They're trying to tell us that this is why. So, in a major recent operational error, the South Korean cryptocurrency exchange BitDump accidentally distributed over 620,000. Now, just listen. $40 to $40 billion worth 695 users. Now, remember, they got back 99.7%. It was fixed within 35 minutes. So, if you really think that's why Bitcoin fell and this is what you're going to put it on, that's fine. That's okay. But the totality of the amount of Bitcoin sold with this mistake was all of like 50-something million dollars. So if you think $57 million made Bitcoin go down 13% in one day, you're on crack. Or if you think it dropped 17% because of this when they sent the Bitcoin, but only 50-something million out of several billion dollars was sold, you're on crack. A 2,000 Bitcoin sell order is not going to move the market that much. It's not. We've seen it day after day after day. It's going to do a temporary move, but 13% when they got back 99.7% within 35 minutes doesn't add up. This seems like a event. They're making this look like this is a can't miss buying event right now. Whenever they do stuff like this, I'm always skeptical. So we'll see if we can continue out here. I'm not saying we can't. Nobody can predict whether or not this continues, but the laughable excuses now that are starting. It's almost like the government when they print money in QE and they say, hey, we're in 37 or $47 trillion of debt, but 8 trillion of it came during, the pandemic, so we had no control over it. Come on. Nothing changed. You just used the pandemic to print even more money, just like here. Like, come on. We're trying to disguise a big market flip and the fact we're in a bear market by the fact that an exchange accidentally sent money. Do you really think this is happening? Or do you think they accidentally sent all this money to their own open wallets, which was probably just a farce, to make it look like, oh, well, back in 21 we crashed, or 22 because of FTX. Oh, 2020 we crashed with XRP because of the lawsuit. Oh, Bitcoin crashed again here in 26 because they accidentally sent all this I mean, get the hell out of here. If they accidentally sent me Bitcoin to my account, I'm monitoring it every 2 seconds. I would have sold it in 3.5 seconds flat, and I'd let them file litigation to try to get it back, because if I accidentally send my Bitcoin to the exchange in the wrong address, I don't get it back. What goes around comes around, and in the court of law, what's fair is fair, buddy. So anybody who sold that 50-something million worth, don't give it back. Force them to bring you into the U.S. court of law. They're in South Korea. Would they give you it back if we did a big oopsie? If I oopsie accidentally sent it to BitDump and I sent it to the wrong USDT instead of USDC, are they giving it back? I don't think so. Isn't it funny how the exchanges can claim a whoopsie and they can just take it back? But if we have a whoopsie, there's no recourse. What does that tell you about institutional control? So it's interesting what happens here in real time. When we do something as retail, there's no recourse. If the exchange does it, oh my God, you better give it back over the fear, right? People are so fearful they're going to come after them with litigation. Let them come after you. Let the South Koreans come after you in the USA and then take them to court. See what happens. If they come in with an unregulated exchange in the USA. I can't use BitDump here. So it's some bullshit when the exchange can send it to you by mistake and they can legally take it back. But if we send it, there's no legal recourse. Don't we ever? That's a problem. I'm not going to be surprised what happens here this morning. Either way. I'm looking at two complete opposite ends here. We've got XDC after a 5 to 7% move up, rotated down to gather some support. Now we're seeing some of the same exact movement happening in different tokens. Now, kind of H-bar break out of here. We're going to find out here very quickly, but we're significantly overbought in the 2-hour time frame. The 4-hourly is moving much higher now. I mean, I'm not feeling very good about this movement. When I look at the 4-hourly, are we getting expansive volume? Not at all. Does that mean it can't come up here? No, because that's where we were targeting. It's just, can we come down sooner? Are we going to do? Or is XDC just gathering a little more support to push up? I'm so mind-fucked right now. Because if we do come up, that means VeChain should come up here real short term. Like, there's a lot of things that we're watching. A lot of things. XRP starts to rotate up. Can we continue this push up? That's what we're looking at this one. We got the Super Bowl today. I'm not even interested in it. I'll probably watch it because I have an angle to win some money. I don't want to talk about it. Just some money I stored up there for a future bet that I haven't bet. I haven't used FanDuel in some time now. I have a futures bet on Michigan to win the title. I bet them at plus 2,000. Put about $350 on them. So that's like a $7,000 payday if Michigan basketball wins. They're down to like plus 400. So all my $50 bets are off me like $300 already and things like that. So the Super Bowl, I see a big spectacle tonight. Seattle's going to win. It's going to be the payback for the farce that they had Seattle versus New England several years ago when they didn't rush it with Marshawn Lynch. This is the payback. So is this Super Bowl going to be particularly close? Probably not. I could almost see a 2-touchdown win by Seattle tonight. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I think this is good old payback. I'm very familiar with Mike McDonald because he was our defensive coordinator at Michigan for 1 year. We turned it around, and then Jesse Minter came in, his protege, the next year, and we won the title. I have MQ. I haven't done anything with it for a long time. I have a couple $100 sitting there, but I haven't even done anything with it in some time. No, you're good, MQ. What I end up doing is, besides my Michigan teams, like I took the futures bet on Michigan basketball before the season started. But after I usually make a bet on the Super Bowl or during the playoffs, but it hasn't been that entertaining. I haven't been as entertained this year. I haven't been as much of in that positioning. But neither nor there. There's still the money sitting on there, set up for certain events. But I don't know. It all depends. I might even be on here during the Super Bowl. I'm not exactly sure what my mindset is right now. I know I'm going to be on at night at some point. I don't know though. I know Julie wants me to make my homemade dip that I can make. Well, the family dip. It's like a chili cheese dip with shredded cheese, and yeah, it's a good thing. Let's see. The Cannabis Podcast, thanks for the one gifted sub. And also being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge. And it goes to Papa Wheelie. What a great gifted sub. Papa Wheelie, if you're in here, congratulations on being back in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge. Really, I know it is tisk tisk. That's why I'm considering what I'm going to do tonight. Kind of sucks in two different ways because, like, my mindset and visions change with all of that because of all the rigging. But I still have money in the account. So it's like Super Bowl or bust. Because I'll delete it after the Super Bowl until we get into March Madness. Let's see. We don't have the futures market opening right now in the miners or gold and silver and anything like that. Oh, no, you're good, MQ. And thanks for being a very trusted mod in here in the community. And also in Tom's Army for 3+ months with the XRP Meteor. Silver Days, welcome in and thanks for being in Tom's Army your second month with Dusty House Crypto News. It's also the other thing of trying not to do two different kind of gamblings at once. When you invest, it's a form of gambling. It just is. Because we're gambling that the price is going to go higher. I don't feel comfortable here this morning. I don't know about you, MQ. Do you feel comfortable about the setup this morning? Do you feel like we got a lot to prove here still? No, we cannot, MQ. No, we cannot. That is a good point. I just play the squares now and again. Got a 4 and 2, not 2. Ooh, 4 and 2. I mean, it's not the worst numbers in the world, but it's gonna be hard. Well, you need it to land on 4 and 2. That's gonna be tricky. What do you need? Like 14. Man, you're gonna need some weirdness to happen. What, 14, 12? Is that for the first half or the whole game? Out of curiosity. If the Patriots win, then my mom gets her mattress for free. Good old Mattress Mac in Houston. Oh, that would be great, Mrs. Stott. Unfortunately, I think this is if you look at the script and the history of the NFL, I don't think it's in the cards for the Patriots. I think this is the payback because the NFL works in symmetry for Seattle voluntarily giving up that championship when they threw the interception at the 1 yard line. That was scripted. So I think this is where it works itself out in the history books. I would be stunned if, honestly, with everything that I see with the numbers, I would be stunned if New England kept it within 10. I would just be stunned. I know a lot of people are going to laugh, but I would just be absolutely shocked. Their offense isn't good enough with the way the football, I would just be stunned. Let's see. I just hear that. Yeah, I've talked about it. Yes, it moved on February 5th. But now we're getting some verification of where it went. Okay, it was February 5th. It was on Thursday night. But we didn't see any information. So I waited to share it until today. I don't care about being the first of the news. I want to be accurate. So whether it happened on the 1st or the 8th, I don't give a rat's ass. You're getting the information and you're getting the right information. Like, I don't care if it comes out on the 1st. I'm going to wait until the details emerge instead of being the first of the news story. I'd rather be the one who has the most facts of the story. Remember, the one who's usually first is the most wrong. I don't need to put out a story to get out the fluff. I already have a base. I don't need to do that. That's the beauty of this channel. I don't need to be the first. I just need to be the most accurate. That's why you come here. You don't come here for the sugarcoat. You come here for the reality. You don't come here to be first. You come here to be the most informed. And that's the way I've always done things. I honestly don't care about being the first. I care about being right. So that's why you often won't hear me talk about this stuff in the beginning. If you're watching, make sure to hit the like button. We have 160 people in here, and 1/3 of you barely have hit the like button. Like 33%, 35%. 60 likes out of 160 is embarrassing. That means I'm not doing something right. Maybe I'm just not doing this right this morning. That's not a big percentage. XDC versus XRP is down better than 9% on the day. Even though XDC is only down 1.5% and XRP is up 1.6%. But from the standpoint of the XDC XRP pairing, we're clearing out big time. And this is what we needed to do. We're massively overbought against XRP. Now we're starting to clear it out a little bit. We're massively oversold in the 3-hourly, massively oversold in the 4-hourly. Daily's moved. Ugh. Daily hasn't moved worth a dick. That's a nice bearish candle right there as well. Oh, boy. That looks like hell. The XDC XRP pairing closes in 34 minutes. That looks terrible. What about XLM? This closes in 34 minutes. That looks like hell too. I don't know about this. This don't look right to me. I didn't come out here sugarcoating it. I came out and said, I don't know about this. I could put a little sugar on it. I did creamy goodness. You're in here. You are my sugar. Did that sound a little man-to-man gay? I don't know. Happy. You know, happy. The happy facts. Michael, that's the fact, Jack. I agree. Let's see. It's because I don't like it yet. There you go, happy. I like that. That's okay. That's fair. That is fair. That is fair, not foul. You don't have to like it if you don't like it, after all. You know, that's fair. Look how quick this is happening now. Let's see if we're on the money right now, if this was all facade. I'm not going to come on here and sugarcoat it. Like, I'm going to come on here and tell you, even if it looks good, it's not. Until it is. Right now, I don't feel good about this. Jordan. I love it, Jordan. A-Man, welcome in. Thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year at the I Told You So Bad. Says, just coming in. How we doing? We think we still going down. Until proven otherwise and we overtake $1.65, I'm still targeting that 86-cent technical target out of the descending triangle. We came up to $1.56 the other day, and now we're back down to $1.40, well, under $1.44. We're up near $1. We were at $1.46 when I started. But let's see. Mr. Stott and Mrs. Stott, thanks for being in Tom's Army. I really appreciate both of you. Your continued support is so important to me. Hope you're all doing blessed this morning. And Mr. Stott said, I saw that XDC dropping off late last night and figured everything was going to be falling soon. And that's the problem. I don't think XDC is the exception to the rule at these times. I think it's more of the, okay, this is what's going on. And we're down 2.3%. This one's always behind. That's why I like to have both. This one moves faster. That's why I have this chart. The other one is a little slow. That doesn't look good. Like these, I talked about it yesterday, what was starting to set up. And I don't know. I'm not too comfortable here. It got way too overbought up. And XDC started shuffling down. And the 4 hourly now, I got to see what happens here. We got to see what happens here. This is a very critical day. Very critical day. Because if we start to fall off here, yeah, I like that Bitcoin went up. But to me, I mean, there's no noise. Everybody wants me to believe Bitcoin's just going to break out of this liquidity zone, but there's no damn volume. Give me some volume. If you give me some volume, okay. And the reason why I have this 10% area set up, to me, that's the liquidity box. You've got to get out of this without breaking down. And yes, we're closer to the top because that's a technical rejection back test. We've already seen it a couple times, but if we come up higher, we've got to get above this area. And I'm trying to show you it so you can just take a picture of this on your own charts, but for whatever reason, when I talk bearish, even if it's within a bullish movement just to give you an alert, people leave. And then they come back and say, I wish I would have stayed. Don't be that person who wishes, just stay. It's okay if it's not doing what we want right now. Be honest with yourselves until it gets to where we want. It doesn't matter if it's breaking down a little bit. It doesn't even matter if it breaks out here. We've got to just look at it from the real lens. Like, I want to look at it through the lenses, the real scope of what's going on. I don't have to lie to myself all the time. Oh, it looks better than it is, or it looks worse than it is. I don't know. I don't want to do that. I want to live in the moment. If we're living in the moment, we can make the right decision. To be in the moment is to win this entire... You ever watch Major League? The movie back in the day with Charlie Sheen and a lot of the others. I think you had a lot of people in there. They're undervalued. They were undervalued, underrated, unappreciated, hell, underrated. Nobody thought it had a chance. That's how the technicals are. The technicals are underrated in crypto. Nobody thinks they have a rhyme or a reason. But if you know the technicals, you stay ahead. It's that simple. To not know the technicals and try to trade, It's like driving a car and being blind. Doesn't make any sense. Would you want to drive a car with a blindfold on? I don't think so. You know, it's pretty basic to me. To not know technical analysis, be driving a car blindfolded in the middle of 6 p.m. rush hour. It doesn't, or 6 a.m. or not. It doesn't make any sense. Why go in blind? Look at like for somebody waking up this morning buying H bar when it was up 7% this morning, saying, "Okay, this is the time." Looking at nothing else in what's going on, and now down 3% since in the last 25 minutes, and that's happened. I guarantee you. Maybe even in this viewing audience, somebody bought a H bar now and is down 3%. Even if it continues going up, they got to make a hard decision now because they've seen it running up unabated to 9.6, and now they might be sitting here at 9.35 going, wait a minute. What the hell is going on? We just had this great movement. I bought it, and it's like it was waiting for my buy. How many of you are in crypto saying, I feel like it just waits for me to buy, and then it just comes down? Doesn't matter how far down it goes, no matter where I buy. Because that's the overwhelming story right now. And the funny thing is XRP's come up 30 cents. 30 cents. So if you didn't buy it on that $1.13, $1.22, or we talked about the $1.18. If it went below that, if a wick bounced back up, we're okay to get the retest farther up. We were talking about that $1.56, possibly $1.77, but $1.56 has to be overtaken with volume. We got up to that level and the volume was trash. So now we put ourselves in a situation. Can we find the appropriate volume to get out of this area? That's all I want to know. That's all I want to know, because as of right now, this got rejected. And we could say, take the elevator up for a shoulder. Take the stairs down, unless this is an inverse pattern set up and it can come up here and retest and break out. It's all we're looking for. We're just looking for something here. Anything, but don't even worry about that chart. Just pay attention to this. Please take a picture of this. Take a picture of it. Put it in front of your mirror. So when you go take a piss, when you go take a shower, when you brush your teeth, comb your hair, shave your face, I don't know, shave your chest. I don't shave my chest. It's otherwise it can come back even worse. You know, I have too much hair there already. I can't shave it. I'm sorry, this isn't OnlyFans, but here, let me do a flex. It's been a good week this week working out. You can definitely see, it's been a good week. It's hard to see on here, though, but it's been a good week. Do a little flex. But I can't flex too much. I got to go to church in about 20 minutes, so I got to get through with this. XRP, I think, is. It is. We've got all the evidence that we need with XRP. We've got it all. All of it. Now the question is, can we break out now, or do we have to revisit the unvisited? Mattress Mac wins either way. He either keeps the money from all the mattress sales if the team loses, or he uses the winnings to reimburse the eligible customers. That's true, Mr. Stop. That is so true. Oh yeah, I mean, I can't even believe the muscle I put on over the last 3.5 plus years. Is it a slow, steady gain? It is. Because I'm not taking roids or anything, and I never will. So it's a slow, steady gain. But every single day I feel a little better. XRP is at 87 billion market cap, down from nearly 200 billion. That's another way to put it. XRP at its look. I mean, does that look good? Not particularly. The volume is what is so scary too, guys. Even right now, the market cap's down $128 billion, or about 58.5%. And when you start seeing this volume, you're like, well, wait a minute. If we're down $128 billion in market cap and better than 57.5%, where the hell is the volume? Well, my theory is it's not coming into crypto right now. You have the Clarity Act, which everybody's like, oh, Tom, the Clarity Act. Oh, Tom, that's where the good news for crypto. Oh, Tom, this is the way to go. XRP Future Millionaire, we got billions. We got XRP Clarity. And all I'll say to that is, guys, am I speaking freaking Chinese every single day? Like, is the words coming out of my mouth not American and English? We're in an unregulated market. To make it a regulated market when the whole point of crypto was to go against the stock market and basic finance and get outside of the government's overreaches, even including taxes, And you're going to make it a regulated market when it was designed to be unregulated to go against the current system? Hello? How dumb are we? And I'm sorry, this family. How inept is retail? We're begging them to make this a regulated market and expect that to be why we're going to go bananas. I think we're all bananas. If you really believe that monkey shit, I'm sorry, if you believe that horse manure, we're all bananas. I might as well just go grab a bunch of bananas and start throwing some banana peels out because we're just going to fall all over ourselves. It's not the way it works. It doesn't work that way. If I told you that we were running an ice cream stand and we started selling chili dogs and we have no ice cream and the people who want ice cream, even though they're coming there and I don't think they're going to buy them. You may very well like chili dogs, but it's 900 degrees outside. You want a damn ice cream. Your throat's burning. You're sweating your ass off. You want that sugary goodness. You're not buying a chili dog that's hot and spicy. It doesn't make any sense. So in crypto, if you want regulations, you're in the wrong market if you want this to go parabolic. It's just the way it goes. Everybody's been arguing that point with me since XRP was at 350. It's like, congratulations, we made 10x, we made a hell of a lot of money and did a great job. But now if you're just going to ride it as a falling knife and you're going to keep buying the dip to buy the dip, while the Clarity Act is supposedly going to make this all better, it's not. This is all by design. Yeah, we're going to get a 10x from somewhere. We're going to get it. Now, is it going to be from 86 cents? Is it going to be from 52 cents? Is it going to be from $1.13? I doubt it. That might be a 5x if it happens this way. But that Clarity Act is the death to crypto. What it does is it gives big institutions, big banks, the ability to create a digital dollar, to put it on a separate entity outside of the retail's reach, and it forces us to have some kind of digital decoding to be able to trade crypto starting in 2028, which nobody wants to acknowledge with this Clarity Act. But in 2028, it's written in there that if we do go full digital, that we're going to have some kind of digital ID. And look no further than Polygon, which is why I don't invest in it. They created the Poly ID, which is nothing more than a digital driver's license, basically, a digital encryption code, where you either have to wear a ring, you have to be microchipped, you have to wear a watch, you have to wear some kind of band that you will have to scan now to trade crypto. I'm not talking about biometrics. I'm talking about something deeper. So, and that's something that's at play with the Clarity Act. So if you want to go down that road, continue to push the Clarity Act. If you want to go down where you become obsolete, keep begging for the government to take control of an unregulated market. It makes absolutely zero sense. It doesn't. If you said you wanted to buy a bar of gold for a store of value and you bought Bitcoin, it's just as asinine. It doesn't make any sense. You're talking apples and oranges. We can talk about Bitcoin as digital gold all we want. It's digital trash. It's a digital code that doesn't exist. Do you know they wanted to name this Bitcoin Titcoin in the beginning? Would you have looked at it as positively if they called it Titcoin? Because that's what they wanted to name it. Go look at the early entries back from 2009. That was a speculation. So if it was Titcoin, would you be calling it the store of value, the biggest thing since sliced bread, or would you call it the biggest pile of shit meme coin ever invented? I mean, just to be honest with ourselves. What is Bitcoin? It's a line of trash. It's code that was first created as digital. They called it digital gold. Now they call it digital energy. They have all these different corporations and companies and entities and businesses borrowing against themselves to buy this garbage. How many countries, how many different entities bought Bitcoin at 100,000? I mean, come on. This is the biggest hijacking of the political or the financial system we've ever seen. I mean, I don't know what else we have to talk about. The fact that it's mind-boggling. We all need to go to church this morning, which I'll be going in about 10 minutes. Don't forget to give thanks to your Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, Yahweh, Yahshua, Emmanuel, Jesus Christ. Pray for God's grace as we pray for Bearded Viking and Mighty Marcus as they continue to fight the good fight. Amen. But I think we all need to agree. We need some higher semblance here because there's too many people that are stuck in the current notion. How many of you believe the Clarity Act is good for crypto? How many of you believe it's good for an unregulated market by design and the reason why it was supposed to be created and why we're supposed to invest in it? Turns regulated. Why wouldn't we just turn into a bunch of group traders in the stock market. Why don't we trade the XRP ETFs? Why don't we trade MicroStrategy? After all, MicroStrategy was up 26% on Friday. Bitmine was up 17%. These are the single largest holders of Ethereum and Bitcoin in the world. Tom Lee's company Bitmine and MicroStrategies with Michael Saylor. We all know though that was all to push the pedo stuff. That was also they could have these little children to themselves. We already know this by the Epstein. We already know this by the manifesto. Bitcoin was created to push that stuff. Child sex slavery is basically why they started Bitcoin. To own it is to run it. If you want to own it, you should know the truth. If you want to run the space, you're going to have to open your eyes to things that are uncomfortable. You're never going to make it in the space if you get too comfortable. You're never going to make it in the space if you believe that Tom, Dick, and Harry's, aside from this Tom, that tell you that everything is one way and it's not. For everybody in the social influencing world, you ought to be ashamed of yourselves. Talking about how the Clarity Act is going to bring this to unfound numbers. How dare them? How dare them pull the blindfold over our eyes and make us buy their exit liquidity because they're being paid and partnered by all these cheap exchanges and tokens? How dare them push billions of traders into the wrong positioning? That's the truth. You know, a Fight Club, you attend but you don't speak. You don't talk about it. Well, the problem with crypto is everybody's being bought off and everybody's not afraid to talk. Buy the GOAT token because it's better than XRP. Remember that? Buy all these crap tokens because we're being paid to tell it. That's what crypto's become. 9.7 out of 10 influencers are being paid to say what they're saying. In the world of 50,000 followers, I must be a dope. Because I didn't hang myself by the rope like everybody else did. I'm actually being legitimate and people are unfollowing by the day. And then they come back when things go down. The market drops 20%, I get 500 new followers in 24 hours. It goes up and I talk about how it was a bearish push up. I lose 150 of those followers in 24 hours. The market does that from 156 to 144. Half of them come back already. It's just the way of the world. When you're a truth teller, people are going to leave. I could BS and finesse you all day long. Trust me, I could. Go look at my Facebook channel. In 2 months, I built up a channel that gets a minimum of 150,000 views already. I have 13,000 plus, almost 13,500 in 2 months. And I'm still being truthful on there. I'm just spinning it in a way that gets people's attention. I could do that here. But does a trader want to be punched in the face, beaten down, and dragged across the room to try to figure out what's going on? Or do you want to know the truth? We all have a choice. Should you sell, Jack? That is the wrong question. That is the wrong question. You shouldn't hold if you're asking that question, period. The right question would be, what do I have to do to break out? What do I have to do to get confirmation? No, you shouldn't sell right now. How could you possibly sell right now when you're in no man's land? Michael says, people love roses until they find the thorn. I love that. I love the roses too until it pricks the shit out of me all the time. Even with my thick gloves, it's poking me. We have a lot of nice rose bushes we put in over the years. So Dan Pena was right about Bitcoin. I don't necessarily know who that is. I've heard the name. But if he said Bitcoin is a Ponzi scheme, yes. And this isn't to be negative, folks. This is to be straight up. Like, if we want to make money in this space, and everybody says that I'm a piece of shit because I talk about past cycles, but if you're going to follow somebody, don't you want to follow somebody who has the history of cycles? I started YouTube in March 24th of 21. I've not missed a day in almost 5 years. And that's a fact. March 24th will be 5 years. Never missed a day of doing this. So I know what I'm talking about. We picked the bottom in 21. Sold the top in 21. Bought the bottom of 23. Sold the top at 25. Also bought the bottom of gold and silver in 22. Bought the bottom of miners in 25. Sold the top in 26. Can't make that up. That means we understand cycles. Now, the only thing we don't know now is if the cycle's picking back up, and we need confirmation. Just like we had confirmation of breakouts, we need to have the confirmation of breaking out. So let's see if we can get above $1.56. Let's see if Bitcoin can get past this very important area right now, which we're fighting, and we're still okay this morning. Nothing's broken down. It's just we're so significantly overbought in the 2 and 4 hour stochastic that says even if we get to 73K, we could be running out of steam. And we have to acknowledge that. And I'm okay with acknowledging that. And if it breaks out, it breaks out, and hopefully we get some volume. But right now the ceiling seems to be about 73, but that's still $2,000 up. If we go $2,000 up, that pushes XRP up towards $1.56. Yeah, I know, I got to get going. I got to get going, though, guys. I know there's 184 people here. It's been a phenomenal live. But I have to get to church. So I'm going to do this exit in about the next 3 minutes. I'm going to church this morning. I'll pray for this entire community. Not just for our gains. I'm talking about for our solidity, our validity, our one focused mindset on the right stuff. The hardest thing I do here is try to get everybody on the right track. And that gets me looking like, the opposite of everybody. And people get mad. You should see the comments the last few days. Call me a piece of shit in my own comments because they say, I used to watch Tom, but all he does is brags about positioning. All he does is brags about the fact that he can make gains. And that's such a bunch of bullshit. I talk about Bagelgate all the time and all my losses. About leverage trading, being up $2,000 on a $500 trade, almost $3,000. Going to make a bagel, and that was when we had about a $10,000. It was the first $10,000 drop we had in Bitcoin a couple years ago, and I think it was 24. It was the first 10K drop we had in like 3 years in one day. Well, it happened to happen when I was going to make my bagel, and I lost all $3,000. So I always say, just because I make gains, I also have made incredibly stupid decisions trading over my 30 years or 20 years or whatever it's been now. In fact, the last 10 years is when I really learned the code. But it wasn't until I learned technical. So I like you to learn from my mistakes and my gains so you can put together the whole thing. I'm just as dumb as I am smart when it comes to trading. I'm just as emotional as I am even keeled. So that's why I need the charts. I don't need to be emotional when the charts tell me what to do. And they're telling me, till we overtake $1.56 and ultimately $1.77, we're in a bearish trajectory. Even if we overtake that, we've got to get above $2.13, roughly, or $2. And extends out, but at least the very minimum, $1.56 up to $1.77 needs to be broken. $1.56 first before we lose $1.34, then $1.77 before we give back $1.56. Anything short of that, the technical target's 86 cents, and I don't need to worry about it because that's the truth. If we invalidate it, it'll be up to the higher direction. So be safe, everybody. Be blessed. I'm going to go to church, and I'll see you guys soon. I plan on doing another live tonight. I don't care that the Super Bowl's on. Maybe I'll do it after the Super Bowl. Maybe I'll do it. I don't know what I'm going to do. But I do know we're going to have one more live today because the futures are going to be opening. If you're interested in the classes, tomorrow we have our third class. It's been absolutely fire so far. It's an unlimited term. There's no set amount of dates. It's as long as people want to attend. We have 42 people in there right now. And you can go back and watch the first two classes. And it's about the DNA of money and the great transitioning for the first so many lessons. And then it transitions. You won't even see a chart for probably months. You don't even talk about that. There's so much you have to learn to be a good trader before you even open up a chart. It's like to become a good baseball player. I can't just grab a bat and walk up to the plate. I've got to perfect the stance. I got to know the right way to the bat. I need to know the right length. I need to know the right way watching a pitch so you can see the rotation of the ball. You need to know if you're going to stand in the back of the box, middle of the box, front of the box. You're going to stand inside, outside. You need to know the pitcher's tendency. I can't swing a bat before I learn to pick it up. I can't hit the ball before I learn the spin of the ball so I know if it's a fastball, curveball, sinker, slider, knuckleball, changeup, split finger, 3-seam, 4-seam, 5-seam, 2-seam. I was a pitcher too, So you don't know any of that. So to trade, you've got to know all the stuff that comes before even opening up a chart. So some people will say, well, why did it go down from $1.46? Watch from the beginning.